Welcome to the British Empire, Origins and Early Expansion, a journey back to the 16th to 18th centuries. We begin with a simple, profound question that sets the stage for centuries of history. Look at our planet, vast, connected, yet historically defined by lines drawn by man. Our focus narrows now, from the vastness of space to a fragile piece of parchment, an antique map of the world. As we watch this map, tiny patches begin to glow, the first tentative steps of a global power. How did a small island nation, facing Europe, begin building the largest empire in history? This is where our story truly begins. The 16th century dawned, marking the beginning of the Great Age of Exploration, a time of immense risk and unparalleled opportunity. The world was suddenly accessible via treacherous oceans. Wooden ships, marvels of their age, set out across the unknown blue, navigating perilous waters guided only by stars and sheer ambition. These journeys led to dramatic encounters with new lands, new cultures, and often established indigenous populations. It was a clash of worlds with lasting consequences. Britain was not alone. The high seas became a battleground for global supremacy, locked in fierce competition with established maritime powers like Spain, France, and Portugal. Slowly, small footholds were established, from the tobacco fields of North America to the sugar plantations of the Caribbean, laying the physical groundwork for the future empire. By the 17th century, the focus shifted from pure exploration to the systematic mechanics of global commerce and the founding of economic structures that would fuel expansion. A key player emerged, the East India Company. Chartered by royal decree, this powerful mercantile venture became the model for expanding influence through economic might, rather than just military conquest. Trade routes expanded rapidly, connecting distant continents. Silks from Asia, sugar from the Caribbean, and furs from North America flowed into Great Britain, creating an early, powerful global economy. Ports became the bustling hubs of this activity. Merchants thrived, financing expeditions and expanding networks that knit together the disparate threads of the empire into one commercial fabric. As the 18th century matured, Britain secured several crucial victories that cemented its place as the dominant global force. Through naval superiority and strategic victories against rivals, Britain transitioned from a simple trading partner to the undisputed rising maritime power, controlling vital sea lanes across the world. Visually, the map of the world began to reflect this new reality. British influence expanded beyond coastal trading posts, turning spheres of influence into territorial control. By the end of the 18th century, the era of fragile colonies and tentative trade was over. The foundations were securely laid. What began as trade and exploration would soon become domination and the full realization of the largest empire the world has ever known. From the 18th to the early 20th century, one nation carved out an empire so vast, it fundamentally reshaped the modern world, the British Empire. It was the ultimate statement of global reach. The sun literally never set on the British Empire. But how did this relatively small island nation achieve such unprecedented global dominance? This is the story of ambition, industry, naval might, and the relentless expansion that brought a quarter of the world's population under the rule of the Union Jack. By the 19th century, following centuries of mercantile efforts and strategic conflicts, the empire had entered its peak phase, transitioning from coastal outposts to deep territorial control. By the 19th century, Britain controlled vast territories across the globe, establishing itself as the world's first truly global superpower, influencing trade, culture, and politics everywhere. The engine of expansion roared loudest across three major continents, each offering unique resources and strategic advantage. No possession was more crucial than India, famously called the jewel in the crown. Through the East India Company and direct crown rule, Britain exerted profound control, shaping everything from infrastructure to administration. In Africa, the rush for territory, known as the Scramble, saw Britain claim enormous tracts of land, driven by the search for raw materials and the strategic goal of a Cape to Cairo railway. Meanwhile, the vast and distant lands of Australia and New Zealand became key settlement colonies, transforming indigenous lands into new societies governed by British tradition and law. By the height of its power, the British Empire spanned over 13 million square miles. This map demonstrates the truly breathtaking scale of its territorial footprint. What enabled this immense expansion was a revolution at home, a massive leap in industrial capability and military might. The Industrial Revolution turned Britain into the world's workshop. Factories churned out textiles, machinery, and armaments at an unprecedented scale, fueled by raw materials imported from the Commonwealth. Railways laid across continents and steamships traversing oceans revolutionized transport, ensuring British goods could reach any corner of the empire, and resources could be reliably extracted and sent back to Britain. At sea, the Royal Navy ruled supreme. Advanced steam-powered warships protected the critical sea lanes, ensuring the uninterrupted flow of trade and projecting British power globally. Goods, capital, and labor flowed along these routes, creating a highly integrated, though unequal, global economy entirely centered around the metropolitan power. But what did daily life look like across this vast, diverse, and often contradictory empire? From the crowded streets and vibrant markets of India to the burgeoning cities built by settlers, the empire was a tapestry of cultures. In regions like the Caribbean, vast plantations were dedicated to cash crops, while mines in Africa and Australia yielded valuable minerals, all driving wealth back to Britain. The empire was characterized by dramatic contrasts. The opulence of British administrative centers stood in stark opposition to the challenging conditions faced by many of the local, colonized populations. The British Empire, at its peak, was a phenomenon of global dominance. Its legacy, in law, language, trade, and infrastructure, is indelible, marking a period of unparalleled power and transformation for the world. Welcome to the British Empire, Decline and Legacy. Today, we explore the dramatic transformation of a global superpower in the 20th century. The British Empire, once covering a quarter of the world's landmass, faced a rapid decline from its peak in the early 20th century. This is the story of that collapse and the lasting impact it left on our modern world. At its height, the sun never set on the British Empire. Its control extended over millions of people across every continent, defining global trade, politics, and culture. The seeds of decline were sown in the early 20th century, where major conflicts and internal pressures began to challenge British authority. The two world wars drained Britain of unimaginable wealth and manpower. While victorious, the cost fundamentally weakened its grip on its global territories. Post-war Britain emerged heavily indebted, shifting from the world's creditor to a debtor nation. Maintaining an expansive global empire became financially unsustainable. The promise of self-determination made during the wars fueled nationalist movements, leading to increasing political unrest and demands for independence across the colonies. The post-war decades saw a rapid acceleration, moving from cracks in the foundation to the full-scale collapse of the imperial structure. The independence of India and Pakistan in 1947 was the pivotal moment, a symbolic end to the, quote, jewel in the crown that signaled the inevitable dissolution of the rest of the empire. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, African nations achieved independence in quick succession, marking the rapid end of direct British rule across the continent. The vast map, once painted imperial red, began to fade. By the 1960s, the territorial reach of the empire had shrunk dramatically. In the face of decolonization, Britain sought new ways to maintain relationships and influence with its former colonies. The Commonwealth of Nations emerged as a voluntary association of independent states, allowing Britain to transition from ruler to partner. Key moments, like the 1956 Suez Crisis, brutally exposed Britain's reduced global power, confirming its new position behind the American superpower. Despite the end of the empire, its influence remains deeply embedded in the social, political, and cultural fabric of the modern world. The English language, spread through the empire's reach, is now the world's most spoken second language, the primary tongue of international business and technology. Parliamentary democracy, common law, and judicial systems established under British rule continue to serve as the foundation for governance in nations worldwide. Today, millions maintain connections through migration, cultural exchange, and global commerce, creating a complex and enduring legacy that defies simple categorization. From its vast dominance to its rapid decolonization, the British Empire fundamentally shaped the 20th century and beyond. Looking at the Earth at night, we see a world profoundly altered by this history. A world where borders changed, but influences linger. The empire ended, but its influence still shapes our world today. If you found this segment insightful, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more updates and historical documentaries.